What are we? What makes us what we are? And what we're going to be? I think it's that right there. It's grit. It's grit. It's grit.
And we're back with a bonus episode of the All Grit Podcast. I'm your humble host, Caleb, alongside, you know them, Plax, Clay, Adrian's hiatus at a meeting tonight. His meeting starts in an hour and 20 minutes, but he couldn't buy out 10 minutes for the pod today. So we'll bless him. We'll bless his little heart. All right, with us today is a special guest, a very special guest. This person comes all the way from the South, a little city called Jacksonville, Florida. Let me introduce Jonathan KUHN to the podcast. Welcome, Jonathan.
Woo, Duval.
How you doing, buddy? Long time no see.
Yes, sir. It's been a couple years, but we're doing good. Weather's great. Finally cooling off, and Jags stink at football, so all is well in the world.
Well, let's end the pod on that note, and we'll catch you all next time. So I met this guy, 2013? We came into Patterson together, and it literally the same day, right?
Yep, like same day, same orientation, all that good stuff.
Last day of May 2013. So,
yep.
You were a waiter for your whole time there,
or? Waiter, cook, and then I did infirmary stuff too. So
that's right.
A few different assignments.
Nice to have you on the pod, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we got some questions for you, and Clay and Plax, feel free if there's something else that I'm not doing correctly or asking, go ahead and come on in. So some of the guys had some questions for you. One of them, as a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, we're looking at their defense. So from a Lions standpoint, how does the Jaguars defense doing with strengths and weaknesses this year?
Well, I would say you're normally going to be it's going to feel like a practice against air. But surprisingly, last week, somehow the defense decided to show up and held the Vikings to 12 points. So that was a shocker.
We were pulling for you guys.
I mean, TJ Hawkinson still had, his best game since he's been back. So the Jaguars still don't know how to cover a tight end, but that's like a 15-year problem now. So I am expecting a pretty big game from because you all have Laporta.
Yeah, but he's had a shoulder injury. What do you think, Clay? You think he's going to play this week?
I think he'll play.
Who's backup?
Do we have a practice? Did you guys look at the practice report today, Wednesday?
I didn't. I failed on that.
Yeah,
I did see the Jags news, but not Lions news.
Well, whoever's the backup, whoever plays is going to have a big day. Regardless,
right?
Yep.
I might go to the waiver wire right now and pick up Brock Wright since you're saying that.
Exactly. I would guarantee it's a guaranteed minimum 15 points in fantasy for your tight end against the Jaguars. It's just been bad. 2 weeks ago, we had a fumble recovery against the Eagles from Trayvon Walker. Ran it in for the touchdown, and then a report came out that the reason why he was on the field is because he won a rock, paper, scissors match on the sideline. So that's where our team is at right now. Our defensive coordinator, I guess, thinks he's in hockey and runs hockey shifts, like changing the line out. So we'll have our star players in there, and then when they're doing too good, we'll decide to pull them out so that the backups can go in. And the opposing team can essentially just march down the field, score, and we're all like, "Oh no, what happened?" And so it is rough.
This is the best
down here in Duval football.
Is he describing the Lions from like the last 30, 40 years?
Yeah.
The Lions from the last 30 years, the Jaguars from the last 20. It has been brutal football for the Cats of the NFL. So.
And it's official. Sam Laporta did not practice today.
Yeah. So I'm thinking
Well, pick up the backup. He's
no
going to be on the waiver.
Yeah, they're right. They don't need him to beat the Jags. So he'll probably, my thinking is, get another week of rest. Shoot, he might even get a couple weeks with our schedule coming up. But yeah, Brock Wright. I mean, San Francisco wanted Brock Wright this offseason. They were going to give him a 2 or 3 year, and Detroit just matched it. And he's like, yeah, I'll stay. So I mean, he's a good runner, man. Good route runner, good blocker. He's not Laporta, but still, if you're saying he's going to get points, I believe you. We'll get some points off.
Yeah, he will. If whoever starts, even like I said, even with the Jaguars defense showing up this past week, Hawkinson's I think still had 16 points in fantasy or right around that. So the tight ends are still going to get their targets. So, and the thing is, the defense has good spots. I mean, they have good players on all 3 levels of the defense. Tyson Campbell is an excellent corner. He really shut down Jefferson this last game. We have good linebackers. The D-line is the weakness. We get no push up the middle. Armstead was the biggest bum in free agency, and we signed him. So he is milking his contract right now. Just no push. Nothing coming up the middle. And, of course, we got Trayvon. Ain't no Hutch, so it is what it is.
Oh, we'll get to that later. We're going to get to that point later. Don't jump the gun here. So what's their strength? If it's not their D line, is it their linebackers or their corners and safeties?
Honestly, I would say there is no strength. We have good players in each position, but unfortunately, the one good player at those positions does not pick up the deficiencies on the other side of the field. So, and they haven't been consistent. So I would say, pass. The pass defense is efficient, but that's one game against the Vikings.
Right.
So we had some injuries. We had some injured players from the get-go that came back last week as well. So maybe that was the difference. But as long as we keep doing this hockey shift substitution strategy, there just really is not a strength. We don't keep our star players out. We'll take them out at key moments on third. There was a couple weeks back, it was a third down for the game, and our pass rushers weren't on the field. The backups were in there. And we were wondering, why is the other team doing so well? It's like, well, maybe we should put in, the high draft picks and the guys that are getting paid millions of dollars to go out there and perform. But I guess it was line 3 for the hockey team. So they just weren't allowed in there. Someone lost the rock, paper, scissors competition. So
you think that's just a goal, as far as just with the mindset of trying to keep people fresh?
Well, I'm sure that's his intention, but it's stupid. Your star players play 90% of the game. And it's, especially on D-line, it's okay to have a rotation. But when it comes to a key third down, your star player needs to be out there. You don't take your star player out on key situations so that he can get a break. If he's too tired or he's too fat to be out there, then the conditioning was wrong in the offseason. Because that was the big thing. Him, Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, they all put on weight. They look beefy and stocky, but if it's keeping them off the field, then I don't know who gave them that idea. That falls back on strength and conditioning. I'm not sure who's in charge of that, but that was a terrible plan if they can't stay out there. So
it sounds like you're dealing with the same coaching that we were dealing with Fatty Patty Matty.
Yep.
Patricia.
Ate a cheeseburger while riding a four-wheeler.
Yeah, he had this idea of working. We had an offensive line that would take literal drives, and he would switch up the offensive line in drives. Not the defensive line, the offensive line.
Yeah. Because I think these coaches get in their own head or something. I think they think they're coming up on something that no one else has figured out in the 150 years the NFL's been in existence. And they're like, oh, I'm going to bring something new. And it's like, no, you're not. Just stick to what works. But it's been quite a comical situation down here.
All right. Well, let's move it over to the offensive side. Offensive strengths. Hit us with it.
Offensive strengths. Well, we have this rookie wide receiver named Brian Thomas Jr. The problem is our head coach and offensive coordinator don't seem to know he exists. So we'll go entire halves of football without him receiving a single target. Meanwhile, what we are doing though is incorporating Gabe Davis into the game plan, who is also bum number 2 from the free agency of this offseason, who does nothing but drop passes. He had the audacity a few weeks back to get upset and yell at Trevor and start a fight on the sideline because Trevor didn't throw him the ball. And granted, you look back at the play, Trevor, he was the open guy. Trevor should have hit him with the pass. So great, you called out your quarterback, you're this big honcho free agent, and he proceeds to go out on the next drive and drop a touchdown pass. And that's because he's Bum Davis. So I don't know why we continue to incorporate him in all the plays. We also like to target our third string running back on key touchdown drives to win the game. We design plays for the third string running back. That's what we do down here in Jacksonville, Florida. And we'll walk away from the game with Brian Thomas Jr. having 2 targets and 20 yards out of that.
Hey,
and it's
just 10 yards a catch, man. You got to give that guy the ball.
It's bad, and that kid is so fast. He can run all the routes. He can blow past defenses. He can cut it through the middle. And that's the other thing. I don't think our offensive coordinator knows that the middle of the field exists. So everything is always these highly difficult. Like nothing's easy for the Jaguars offense. It's very it's got to be timed just right. The pass has to be just to the outside. Like everything's got to be perfect. And we just don't do anything easy or that makes sense.
So let me stop you there. Is that something that Trevor Lawrence? Because I'm hearing that and I'm comparing it to Jared Goff. Like Ben Johnson specifically is very particular with getting Amon-Ra routes in the middle of the field. Is that something that Trevor is not? Because I'm thinking back to his college days and he aired the ball. Is he not a mid-range guy, or are they using him as a deep thrower?
No, he has great success in the middle of the field. The problem is we don't use him as a deep thrower or mid thrower. Everything is I can't even say short passing because we don't even run crossers. It's the most mind-boggling thing you will ever see watching football because absolutely nothing makes sense. We do go vertical, but usually we go vertical when we're on our own 1 yard line and you need to run a quick pass, so that the quarterback can, get the ball out quickly. What we'll do is run a deep vertical route that takes 5 seconds to develop while Trevor Lawrence gets blasted in the back of the end zone because the offensive line implodes on itself. So it's bad. It's bad all around. It just nothing makes sense. Also let Detroit know that on first down, we will run it up the middle for no gain. That's almost, I believe the number, at least from last season, it was like an 80% call on first down, run up the middle.
And that
so
is
we all know.
If we are going to talk Lions at all in this pod, that's the one thing that Lions offense or defensive line is just, they stop the run. You got DJ Reader from Cincy. You got Ali McNeil that's just turning into another player this year. Between those two guys, and now you got Zadarius Smith now coming to that side, and then you got Josh Pascal on the other side. He's doing all right. So our defensive line is pretty good at stopping the run.
Yeah, and we have no run game, so it's going to be fun to watch.
So it's a trap game for the Lions. That's what this is. So,
but that's the thing. Again, I thought the Minnesota Vikings were going to come in and just absolutely blow us out. I think if Trevor is healthy and plays last week, all we needed to score was 13 points. So I think that that happens if Trevor's playing. Now he's not playing this week again, so you're going to have Mac Jones back in there. So
let's get into it.
Yeah,
we just found that out today. How did you feel, Mr. Let's see. Their email is, what is it? What's your email?
Jaguar Fanatic.
JaguarFanatic@gmail.com. So what do you think, bro? with the news today that Trevor Lawrence is not starting?
I'm hoping he is going to pack it up for the season because it's a waste. I don't need him getting thrown out there by this coaching staff and getting unnecessarily hurt for something that doesn't matter. We're not in the playoff race anymore. It's done. He needs to pack it up and get ready for next year when we have an actual real coach who can do something, who's not running an archaic, offense from 40 years ago. So
Ben Johnson?
Oh, man, I'd be happy with Ben Johnson is definitely a want. Dude, I'd honestly be happy going in and scooping up a Mark Brunell. I think he could be the next great offensive coordinator in this league.
Man, that would be sweet. That would be sweet if he came.
You're talking about a player of greatness. So he was great as a player. He's great as a coach, as a position coach. Anyways, you can see what he's done with Jared Goff's career. So I just think that translates. Like, he's just a winner. So I think that translates into if he becomes an OC. Would love to have. Honestly, I would love to give Cliff Kingsbury another shot. What he's doing with Jaden Daniels in Washington right now is out of this world. And that's another thing that the Jaguars don't realize is that Trevor can run. So we absolutely refuse to let Trevor run. And he's good at it. He's got long speed. He can run well when he does. So, and he's smart. He doesn't really take too many bad hits when he's on the run. He usually gets down and avoids that. I think Jacksonville is going to go the Bill Belichick route. I think that's what they want. The Khans have a good relationship with Belichick. So I feel like
crazy.
I feel like that's what they're going to do. And I think it could work. Belichick succeeded with a great quarterback. I think Trevor can get there if he's got the coaching. Right now, if you watch the Jaguar games, Trevor will have a drive, come off the field, and literally no one talks to him. He goes, sits on a bench by himself, looking at the tablet, and coaches himself. It is absolutely disgusting what's happening right now in Jacksonville. I don't think him and Doug have a great relationship. I know Trevor's a bigger man, so he'll go on his press conferences and say everything is fine, and Doug hasn't lost the locker room and all that stuff. But you can just watch. You can do the eye test during the game. There is zero communication between those two. It's pretty bad. And the last week he was injured, and I think he was doing more coaching than the coaches were because he was there when the quarterback was coming off the field, talking to him, looking at what he saw, just communication.
Get the players what he wants to receive, so that's cool.
Yep. So we were like, sweet, let's make Trevor the head coach. Let's make him the starting quarterback. See if he can run some routes himself. I don't know what we can do at this point, but yeah, I'm hoping he's going to pack it up. I don't want him to come back after the bye week. I'm hoping that by the bye, Shad's yacht is in town in Jacksonville, so I'm hoping that after this game with the bye week coming up, that Dougie P is sent packing, and then hopefully the GM in the off season. So
who's starting this Sunday?
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones. And how do you feel about him against Detroit's defense right now?
Well, he scored 7 points against the Vikings defense. So now the Vikings defense, I think technically, statistically, they're like number one right now, at least in fantasy. Anyways, they're the top defense. Detroit's not far behind though. So it really just depends on that offensive line. Can we protect him? If we can protect him, then he can make the throws, but he's going to have to, I think, force feed BTJ a little bit. He can't do what he did last week and not throw him the football. So
yeah, because you mentioned there's no running game, right? So
not right now.
It's just short passes to your receivers.
We have good running backs like ETN, but he's got long speed and he can bounce it outside. But again, we refuse to do that, and instead we run up the middle for no gain every play because our weakness on the offensive line is the interior. So it just makes sense that you run behind your weakness. So
who they trust more? They trust Bigsby just as much as ETN?
No, because Bigsby's got a fumbling problem. So even in the couple games where he did good, he fumbled on the way into the end zone. Now he recovered it. But he's fumbled on a kickoff. He's had fumbling problems, but so has ETN. So I really don't know what our running backs coaches are doing. I don't know what they do in practice. because both our running backs have ball control issues, and defenses know that. So you'll see when they go to tackle them both, they're swinging for that ball because it pops out pretty easy for those two. So unfortunately, I think ETN, I do think the direction the organization is going to go is going to be with Tank Bigsby. I think ETN is gone after this offseason. Because the final, did they pick up his option? I think they did pick up his option.
Oh, that's right, because he came in the same time as Trevor, right? They
as
came
Trevor,
in
I'm pretty sure they picked him up, so we might get one more year after. I have to look it up because I think this is year 4 for them, and I think they picked up his option, so he could be here next year, or at least I would think a possible like a strong trade candidate, during the draft or something like that. But
Oh, speaking of, you took us right into our next talking point, my brother. How do you feel about the draft? What positions do the Jacksonville Jaguars need in the upcoming draft to fix this problem? And keep in mind,
honestly,
you only have 7 draft picks.
Yeah, honestly, what fixes its problem is coaching and head. Who's running this team. That's going to be the massive. This team has too much talent to be where they're at. On the roster side, you got Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker on your defensive line. They should be generating a lot more pass rush than what we're getting. You've got really good Foye Oluokun is a great middle linebacker. Usually he's led the NFL in tackles for like 3 of the last 5 years. Good secondary players. Offense, you got ETN, you got Trevor, you got Brian Thomas Jr. now. You've had Christian Kirk. He's probably gone after this year.
Gabe Davis.
So Gabe Davis, I think he's gone too. His contract was set up for an easy out. So I don't see a new regime coming in and keeping him. I could be wrong, but he hasn't proven anything. So we're going to have to go wide receiver at some point, not early on, or maybe that's a free agent target to fill because Brian Thomas is going to be our clear number 1. He's proven that he can do that. Even though we don't throw the ball to him, when we do, he succeeds. So probably running back, especially if ETN's not around. If ETN's here, then I'm not targeting running back. But if ETN's not, it's just Tank, then we're going to have to get someone behind him. But we need to go big boys, both sides. Our draft needs to be 4 offensive linemen, 3 defensive linemen.
Wow.
I wouldn't go any skill position because I think with who we have currently, we can manage.
Gotcha.
But we get no pass rush because you get Trayvon and Josh on the outsides, but there's nothing coming up the middle. So they'll come screaming around the edges, and then all the quarterback's got to do is step up because he's got 10 yards in front of him because our guys got pushed back 10 yards. So it's just absolutely disgusting what's going up the middle of the defense. And then the offensive line, we have our right tackle. He's got to get better, but this is year 2 for him, so he's going to be your starter. Just traded Cam Robinson to the Vikings, so we have Trayvon Walker now, who I think is the better left tackle. So I think we're going to be set at our tackles. We got Mitch Morse from the Bills this offseason. He's been okay. He's had his ups and downs, but definitely better than what we got. But the 2 guard positions have to be addressed, whether that's free agency or getting a big mauler in the draft. So I think we got the number 1 pick right now if everything were to end today. And I honestly don't see the Jaguars winning another game. I just don't. I don't see it. Of course, they could do the most Jaguar thing and win a meaningless game, and it knocks them out of that pick.
Right.
I'm hoping we get that 1 pick and we can do what the Bears did with the Panthers and trade back. Because I don't like. I would love to have who's the kid from Colorado?
Fedor.
Not Sanders. Travis Hunter.
Oh yeah.
Would love to have him on this team because we really do need another corner as well. But I'd rather beef up the lines. We've ignored the NFL football is about who can push on the offense and who can push on the defense. If you can control the line,
and that's really
ahead,
the hard thing about being in the position you're in. Trust it. Like everything you're saying is like we've lived this life. Very sympathetic. But like when you're in a position like that, you're not gonna attract big free agents. It's just not going to happen. You have to build with the draft. And
Yep. We know that too. No one wanted to come to Detroit for years.
You got to start in the trenches. It's going to take a couple of years. But yeah,
that's one thing Shad has somehow done okay with that because he'll spend the money.
And that's the thing. He's just throwing money out there, which is what our previous ownership did. You know, you right. You go back to what's his name? I don't even like saying it. Mike. Matt I can't even say it. Matt. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he would just throw stupid money, get one person in, and then all of a sudden, now you have a crappy team with one good player. You know, or you draft. Thankfully, we drafted Calvin and Barry and ruined their lives for their whole career. So now all of a sudden,
the Jaguars have never had a fresh start under Shad Khan. So the only time we did have a fresh start is when he first bought the team, and he had to hire all new coaching and general managers and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
and he has always kept either the coach or the general manager. So we've never had he's always kept someone from the losing regime. Like this regime stunk. They couldn't win a thing. And instead of cleaning house, he refuses. He either gets rid of the GM, hangs on to the coach, gets rid of the coach, hangs on to the GM.
Yep.
This, as much as I would love like a Ben Johnson, it's almost why I'm hoping for a Bill Belichick. Just because you bring in Bill, it guarantees
he's both.
A clean sweep. Whether or not it's successful, whether Bill's successful with Trevor Lawrence and the team, I don't know. But if that guy means clean sweep and the GM's out and everyone's gone and it's all new people in here, man, I'll take it. That's my only concern with like if we go Ben Johnson or something like that is who's making that hire. Is it still the same general manager or are we going to start fresh? So we'll see, but it should be an easy win for Detroit.
Well, speaking of general managers, I'm going to take you back a couple years. Now, be honest with my listeners here, our listeners on the All Grit podcast. Look in the camera. Don't look away. And I'm going to ask you a question. Are you happy with Walker over Hutch?
Absolutely not. Oh, my God. Don't take me back to that draft night.
He's got longer arms, though.
Yeah, he's got longer arms. It was such a stupid draft night. We all wanted Hutch, and it was clear as day. Why? Because the production's there. He's got the production through college, and our general manager, instead of looking at production and saying, "Well, this guy did good all throughout college, and he has the numbers and the stats that he is a pass rusher," that's going to carry over. We had the number 1 overall pick and chose to go with potential. Because that's what you do when you have the number 1 pick. You don't take the certainty. You go with potential.
Bigger upside.
According to Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the bigger upside because you compare their collegiate careers and it wasn't even remotely close. And Trayvon's a good player. If the Jaguars had the number 1 pick and traded back to 10 or 12 or something and took Trayvon Walker, fantastic. What a great pick.
Right.
He had 10 sacks last year. He's got 7.5 now, so he should reach that 10 to 11 mark again if he keeps consistently doing what he's doing. So that's good. You got a guy who's back-to-back double-digit sacks. Fantastic. But compare that to what Hutch has been doing. I mean, what did Hutch had 10 sacks through week 3 or something stupid?
He's got 7.5 and he hasn't played in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
their careers aren't close, and it was just unbelievable.
Just so you know, here locally, before the trade deadline, there was talks of making calls down to Jacksonville and seeing if just for the heck of it, what are you asking for an Allen or what are you asking for a Walker? If you're hitting the hard reset now, I know you don't want to get rid of Walker because he's still young. You still have him under contract for 2 more years?
I think
3.
Yeah, because we can use the fifth. We can use the 5th year on him.
Option. Yeah. So I mean, you have. No, this is the 3rd year, isn't it? Of Hutchin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the 3rd.
Yeah, this is 3rd year. So we only got 2 more years.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, they were talking about it. Like, hey, you know, if we're a Super Bowl team, do we need to go down and make a big splash? Get Walker up here, get Allen, get somebody. We ended up getting Smith, so I think most of us are okay with that. I would have been way happier with Walker for sure. Younger,
Yeah, that would have been.
You know, you pair Walker and Hutchinson for the next 2 years at least.
He's a good player. He's good against the run. He's a big, strong kid. So he doesn't miss very many tackles. Once he's got his hands on you, you're probably going down.
Yep.
I think just off principle, there's no way Jacksonville would make that trade to give him to Detroit when they know they had.
We did a couple trades this year with some players I think we knew weren't going to be here next year. So I'm not sure if Shad, kind of told the current GM to just make a couple easy trades for some 6th round picks, because our GM loves 6th round picks. I think we've had like 20 6th round picks in the last 3 years.
If you package those up, you can get a number 1 pick. Haven't you heard?
Yeah, well, according to him, no one ever wants to trade up with us. So we always trade back, but we cannot ever trade up. And the story is this: no team's ever willing to trade up with us. So
interesting.
I think he just gets played a lot during the draft. And I'll give him credit. He made one good move. I think we had pick 12 or pick 15. Or no, we had pick 17 or something like that, and we were able to trade back to like 24 and still get Brian Thomas this year. So that's who I wanted us. I wanted Brian Thomas Jr. I thought, outside of having a shot at like Marvin Harrison Jr., right. I knew he was going to be long gone before the Jaguars. So I wanted Brian Thomas. I liked his career path, his college career path the best. Thought he had the most potential, and I think that's kind of played out a little bit this season. He's done really well. When we do target him more than 2 times a game. So,
all right, man, let's get into some predictions. All right. We talked about the Jags. We talked a little bit about the Lions, but now we're going to talk predictions for the upcoming Sunday game. What time is the game? Kickoff 1 p.m.
I think it's a 1 o'clock game.
Eastern Standard Time. All right. We'll start with Clay here. We have the, Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Detroit Ford Field, 1 p.m. What is going to be the score at 4 o'clock, Clay?
34-9. Lions.
Oh! All right. What you got, Plax?
You want to throw like 40 or 50 points out there, but I feel like for Detroit, this is going to be like, let's just try and get this done, not get any injuries, probably be as vanilla as possible. Want to get the starters out in the second half if possible. I don't know if they'll score as many as we think, but I could see 37-12.
All right. What you got, Mr. John?
I can't believe both of you guys got us scoring more than 9 points. I'm going.
You guys are averaging 20.2, so try to split the difference.
Yeah.
Good fact.
Trevor's not going to be out there, so I think we have a repeat of a couple of years ago, even when the Jags were good at that point, and we're going to go 44 to. We'll do 44-10.
Dude.
Detroit.
Are you sure Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking the same thing. I had 44-10 written down, so I'll team up with you. 44-10. I think it's
I think it could be more, but Detroit's going to get sad and take their gas off the pedal for the final quarter, or their foot off the pedal for the final quarter.
I think Plax was right with that. We're going to get up. We'll put in this will be another game. All right, let's do a bold prediction or a bold take. My bold take is at some point during the game, you will see our second string quarterback from Tennessee. That's my bold take. You guys got a bold take? Let's go to John. I know you got a hilarious bold take for us.
Oh, bold take.
Got to be bold. Shoot the boot, guarantee bold take.
Bold take. Our offensive line is going to get Mac Jones hurt, and CJ Beathard will be in this game.
Wow, we have a third string and a second string coming in. Those are bold. All right, Clay, what you got?
Vanilla Vic will get a rushing touchdown.
Oh my Lord!
Okay.
I was going to say, also for your fantasy teams, I think both running backs will each get at least a touchdown because they're almost dead. They're dead even in splits, aren't they?
You talking
Carries
our
for the
running
season?
backs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gibbs and Montgomery, they're dead split on carries.
Bold take. They both get 2.
It very easily could happen.
No, I'm just kidding. What you got, Plax?
Mine would be such worst case scenario, but a one-score game at the half.
Say that again.
1-score game at the half.
Oh no!
Yeah.
If you just come out and you just try and win based off talent alone, and you don't really, give it too much thought, I don't think that'll happen. I think Dan, he won't let that happen. They're always going to take everybody serious, but you never know. You come out flat, expecting to win easy, and sometimes you got a team with nothing to lose. They come out hot, so hopefully
Vikings
not.
only got 12, so
Right.
who knows? We'll see what defense shows up for Jacksonville this week. I'm sure they'll play some rock, paper, scissors to decide.
Were you guys home or in Minnesota?
We were home.
Okay.
Yeah, we were home last Sunday. So
a little bit different when you're.
What are we?
Oh, sorry, guys. Say that again, bro.
Oh, that was a good outro. No, I'm just saying we've been on the road a couple weeks.
I love Dan saying grit because it reminds me of Tom Coughlin a few years ago who said we should adopt the term grit, and then Jacksonville fired him. So we went with soy boy instead, and it's been great. So
football grit over here, bro.
They went with what? Soy boy?
Soy boy.
The heck is that?
They're soft.
Huh?
They don't drink milk. They drink a little soy milk. Little soy boys.
Oh my Lord. All right, fellas. Well, for the All Grit podcast, we appreciate our crossover edition this week with Mr. KUHN coming in from Jacksonville, Florida. Appreciate you stopping in, bro. Let the people know where they can find you real quick. If they want more Jacksonville, where can they find you?
I got my Instagram, jkuhn3. My Xbox handle, Tweety for Prez. Outside of that, that's about it.
Sounds good. We're out. Later.
Duval.